What's going on, everybody? This is Matt Does Fitness and I have some pretty crazy news. This morning I was walking down the high street and I walked past an electronics store and saw an advert and it said TV £1, volume stuck on full. And I thought to myself, I can't turn that down. Okay, so as you'll know if you've been watching my recent stuff, I've just finished my second cycle of Wendler 531. I've been running 6-week cycles, so effectively I've done 14 weeks of Wendler. So like I said, I've just finished my deload week from my second cycle, and ordinarily I'd be going into another cycle. However, having done 2 cycles, I believe it's time to do something a little bit different. I'm not going to stop Wendler, I will go back to it, but I think it's time for a change. I have made some pretty awesome progress. I'm really pleased with the progress I've made on the program. If you check out my video from a few days ago, my transformation video, you'll see the strength gains I've made. They're pretty significant, particularly with my squats and my deadlifts, so I'm really happy with that. Now, this is where it gets exciting. This has always been my plan. It was just a matter of kind of when. I've decided I'm going to run a program which is more based around hitting 1 rep maxes, so doing heavy singles to see how much you can lift. Like I said just now, the Wendler plan, it's worked really well for me. I think it's massively beneficial, but the one slight downside in my opinion is that you don't ever really get to go heavy. You never go above 95% of your training max, so I think that translates to about 80 or 85% of your actual max. So you're never lifting above about 85%, which the theory behind it is very effective in that you're always going to hit your reps, you're always going to be training consistently, but like I said, sometimes you do need to go heavy, and that is where this next cycle for me is going to come in. So I've been looking around trying to find a decent training program that allows you to hit heavy singles, and I've come across it's a plan by a guy called Alex Viada. It might be Viada, Viudu, I don't know, it probably isn't the last one. If you are familiar with Brian Nielsen, you probably are. He's been doing this, he's done it a couple of times very successfully. He kind of inspired me to do it, and I've kind of read up a lot about it since then, and I think it is a very logical route for me to take. In fact, now I mention it, Brian Nielsen has inspired me to do a lot of things. Kite surfing, Morris dancing, painting watermelons, erotic dance. I've even changed the name of my firstborn child to Brian. Let's just pause and think for a second about how great Brian is. Right, back on topic. Okay, so the program. Alex Viada, don't know how you say it. His program essentially is as follows. You do 10 reps at 20%. This is obviously the warm-up, right? 10 reps at 20%. You go 6 reps at 50%. You go 2 reps at 70%. And then you go 1 rep at 80%, 1 rep at 90%, 1 rep at 95%, 1 rep at 100%. And there you go. Okay, so you've got your warm-up sets, and then effectively your 3 working sets, I guess, are the 1 at 90%, 1 at 95%, and 1 at 100%. You then follow that with 8 sets of 3 reps at 55%. Now this is the dynamic effort, okay? So essentially the program is split into maximum effort work, which is obviously the heavy singles, and dynamic effort work, which is the sets of 3 at a lower percentage, but they're done as quickly as you can possibly do them. So obviously I'll be doing this with my deadlift, with my bench, my squat and my press. And yes, if I'm doing those dynamic lifts with the deadlift, obviously it's very light, but you are coming up as quickly as you possibly can, and there is a theory behind this. And that theory is as follows. When you do the dynamic effort work, you are essentially training your central nervous system. And what I mean by this is that when you lift a weight, you are obviously creating force, okay? And the more force you create, the more weight you can lift. Now there are 2 kind of elements at play here. Obviously one is how much force you can create, and the other one is how quickly you can create that force. So you might have a guy who's incredibly strong, but if it takes him a long time to create that force, obviously he has a bit of a lazy kind of strength curve, and he might not be able to lift as much weight as someone who can create the force in a very short period of time. A good analogy is to think of, and Alex Viada uses this on his website, is if you think of a tug of war, right? If you have two teams with equal strength, or even one team that has slightly less strength, if the team who have more strength are pulling all unevenly, so you've got a couple of guys that are pulling a bit hard, and then they kind of ease off, and two other guys pull a bit harder, and you compare that with the other team who all pull simultaneously as one, obviously that team are going to win, alright, because they are exerting all of their force simultaneously in a short period of time, and that is going to overcome the other more powerful but less kind of even team. I don't know if I explained that very well, I'm sure you know what I mean. So essentially the dynamic effort work trains you to produce that force in a short, effective period of time. Okay, so all your fibers are contracting at once, quickly, and that means there is no kind of wasted power, and ideally you get the weight up. So the program, like I said, it's Alex Viada, that is spelled Alex V-I-A-D-A. It's the dynamic effort and maximum effort template. If you just Google it, you'll find it straight away. And like I said, I spent a lot of time reading it, and it does make a lot of sense. The more you read it, the more kind of compelled you'll be to give it a go. I don't think it's a long-term plan. I think because it is obviously based around kind of, it's quite similar to the kind of training I was doing when I was doing track and field. So it's more kind of quality based, there's not much volume. So it will work for a period of time. I don't think it's a long-term plan. Whereas the Wendler plan, the 531, Boring Big in particular, is definitely a long-term plan because there's lots of volume there. So I'm going to run it for probably 4 to 6 weeks. I'll basically see how much I can get out of it. If I am progressing each week, I'll basically keep going until I feel like I've got to where I can get to, and then I'll go back to Wendler. So possibly, it might be 6 weeks, and then I'll just drop back into a Boring but Big. And I'm hoping that I will, in the first week, I will hit PRs, and from that point on I will hit new PRs every single week. That is what I'm hoping. Fingers crossed, touch wood. But we'll see. If I miss any PRs, obviously it's not a disaster, I'll just keep going. When I finish the program, I will have a new set of PRs. I will then go back to Wendler, I'll put those new numbers in, and I'll start from scratch. It's probably going to suck because it's going to mean that I've got massive plus rep sets and 5 sets of 10 I've got to hit, but it'll be worth it because I'll be getting stupidly strong. And that is my plan. So, I hope you're excited. I am very, very excited. I'm stupidly excited, in fact. I'm going to start it this week, so videos will be up from probably tomorrow, showing you how I'm getting on. Like I said, I'm hoping to hit all kinds of PRs for singles, 1 rep maxes. We'll see how it goes. Google Alex Viada, have a look at the program for yourself. Check out Brian Nilsson's channel. I will link it in the description. He's an awesome guy. He's done it a couple of times very successfully. He's kind of my inspiration, like I said. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, share, subscribe as always, and I will see you tomorrow.